All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the 2025 Century Farms dinner here at the Williamson County Fair. Can y'all hear me in the back? Tables, volume okay? Good, good. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. We'll get started here with the formal part of our program, and then we will release everybody to eat here in just a few minutes. Welcome, welcome. I want to thank you all for attending this evening. It's a pleasure for the Williamson County Fair to be able to host so many of our Williamson County Century Farm families. So it's nice to see such a big group out here this evening. My name is Bradley Boshears, and I'm the director of Williamson County Archives and Museum. I'm the county archivist. So it's my pleasure to step in as the host of the Century Farms dinner this year. Going forward, myself and the archives department will play a more direct role assisting with new Century Farm applications. So if you know folks in the community that are interested in applying and getting certified, if you will please point them our direction. And we also want the Archives and Museum to be a resource for you guys and your families to more generally just preserve agricultural and family history for Williamson County. If you haven't visited us before, I'd encourage you to stop by the Archives and Museum, which is in downtown Franklin. So we're down there at 611 West Main Street. At 5 Points. Stop in and say, hey, check out the museum. If you're interested in doing some genealogy that you maybe haven't completed as part of your Century Farms application, we'd be glad to have you down there. And I will say again, if you know of anybody or meet somebody who's interested in doing a Century Farm application, like I said, you can push them our way. I've added some information to our Archives Department webpage that has some of the Century Farm resources available to make it easier for folks to find. Then my team is available to assist as well. Before I jump into the farms that we're going to recognize tonight, I do want to say thank you to Kenita Scully-Hankins for passing the baton to me this year. I know many of you know her personally, and she served this county through this program in many other ways for a long time. So I'm thankful for her many years of service. She was gracious to share her deep knowledge and resources with myself and the Archives and Museum ahead of the program tonight and to facilitate this next phase for us. I don't think anyone can really replace her support for Century Farms in this county, as well as across the state, but I'm glad to play a role tonight in carrying that forward. Lucky for us, Kenita has been working with the county historian Rick Warwick on a Century Farms history book that we're really excited to see. So that should be coming out towards the end of this year, sometime hopefully by late November, December. So stay tuned for that. I'm sure there'll be a formal press release once that book is out. I know it's something that they want every one of our Century Farm families to have. I'm grateful to them for collecting that resource for us. Let me also say thank you to Miss Judy Hayes, who's here tonight, who has supported their book project. Thank you, please. It's easy to take for granted some of these folks we have in the community with their historical knowledge and community knowledge. So I'm glad Miss Hayes was able to lead the push to get Rick and Kenita to work on this book so that we can collect and preserve the knowledge that they share in perpetuity through that project. And I'd also like to thank her for the pens that are on your table tonight, so please be sure you grab one of your USA or Tennessee pens that are sitting out there to take those with you this evening. This year I've got 3 new farms that we're going to recognize that have been certified, bringing the total to 46 farms in Williamson County that we're lucky to have, and more than 2,200 that are certified across the state of Tennessee. The first new Century Farm we're celebrating tonight is the Barker's Hillview Farm. So I'm going to read a little summary for all these farms, just to kind of describe their history and family history, and then we'll recognize them once we get through with this summary. Andrew Jackson Crowson and his wife, Talitha Barker Crowson, purchased a farm nestled in Williamson County in 1891. Crops and livestock on the 160-acre farm, today known as Barker's Hillview Farm, consisted of corn, tobacco, hay, and cattle. The farm sat near Burwood Village, which was home to 3 stores, a blacksmith shop, and a sawmill. Talitha's nephew, Robert H. Barker Sr., was the second owner and added hogs to the farm. He and Lottie Lee Lavender Barker had 6 children. The community recognized R.H. Barker Sr. as an outstanding farmer, churchman, and civic leader. Succeeding Robert were his son Franklin Neal Barker and his wife Hilda Stokes Barker. They grazed beef and cut hay. Neal was a postman for Thompson Station and well known in the community. Upon his death, Hilda managed the farm with local help, Today, the owners are Nancy Barker Craig and Sandra Barker Haber, children of Neil and Hilda. Nancy and Sandra acquired the property in 2016, growing hay and raising beef cattle. While growing up, Nancy and Sandra hiked, rode horses, and drove an old Jeep around the property. Throughout the years, their children and grandchildren have come to love and enjoy the property as much as they do. We're always thankful to still be able to love the same land as our ancestors. Nancy and Sandra wrote in their application, and a family friend, Larry Jones, works the land today on their behalf, and Sandra and Nancy are active in management. I don't believe Nancy or Sandra are here tonight. Let me make sure. But if you would, let's give them a round of applause to recognize their certification this year. Congratulations again to Nancy and Sandra. The second farm we've got to recognize tonight is the Legacy of Love Orchard and Farm, owned by the Hatcher family out in the College Grove area. Meredith Hatcher purchased this farm in 1903 during a period of significant transition in Tennessee and the American South. As an African-American farmer in the early 20th century, his acquisition and cultivation of land stands as a powerful testament to perseverance and vision in a time marked by social, economic, and agricultural transformation. Between 1903 and 1920, Mr. Hatcher expanded the farm to 317 acres, a remarkable feat for any farmer of that era. His efforts took place against the backdrop of a post-Reconstruction South when access to capital markets and land ownership opportunities were limited, particularly for African Americans. Despite these challenges, he worked the land with his sons, focusing on sustainable farming practices that supported both his family and the local agricultural economy. During Mr. Hatcher's lifetime, farmers across Tennessee were navigating the effects of the boll weevil infestation, which devastated cotton crops beginning in the 1910s, prompting many farmers to diversify and adopt new techniques. World War I brought increased demand for agricultural products, followed by a post-war recession in the 1920s that tested the resilience of independent farmers. Through these tumultuous times, Mr. Hatcher not only maintained his farm, but continued to invest in and grow it, showing remarkable adaptability. The farm also served as a gathering place and anchor for the community, reflecting the role of land ownership in stabilizing rural life and creating generational opportunity. Upon his passing in 1945, Mr. Hatcher deeded the land to his three sons, preserving the legacy of family farming at a time when many small and mid-sized farms were being lost due to economic pressure and shifting land use patterns. Following the passing of his father, Meredith Hatcher, in 1945, Marvin Hatcher Sr. acquired 208 acres of the original family farm and continued to build upon the strong agricultural foundation that had been laid. Over the next 3 decades, Mr. Hatcher significantly expanded and diversified the farm's operations, reflecting both his dedication to the land and a keen understanding of evolving agricultural practices in Tennessee. Before returning to the farm full-time, Marvin Hatcher Sr. served honorably as a private in the U.S. military during World War I, where he was assigned to Company F of the 6th Pioneer Infantry Regiment. Under his leadership, the family farm grew beyond its original scope of milk cows, beef cattle, goats, pigs, chickens, tobacco, sorghum, corn, and cotton. Marvin introduced new livestock, including ducks, and established a productive orchard with peach, apple, plum, and cherry trees, creating a more resilient and self-sustaining farming system that supported both his family and market needs. His work reflects the strength, determination, and foresight shared by many farmers of his time. His story and that of his descendants is not only part of the Hatcher family's legacy, but also part of Tennessee's agricultural history, and it continues to inspire the family's stewardship of the land today. I know we do have members of the Hatcher family here tonight, representing Legacy of Love Orchard and Farm. If you guys would stand if you're able, and we can give you a round of applause recognizing your certification. Thank you, thank you. Our third addition to the Century Farms list this year is Sullivan Farm, owned by the Sullivan family. This farm is in the county's 1st district off Highway 100 near the Hickman County line. Sarah Jane Tidwell Sullivan and her husband, Andrew Jackson Sullivan, established Sullivan Farm in 1881 with Sarah Jane as the primary owner. Located on the waters of Turnbull Creek, the farm grew native grasses such as blue stem, little blue stem, and switchgrass. The Sullivans had a fruit orchard and grew corn, tobacco, and timber while raising mules, cattle, hogs, and chickens. The area was known as the Badlands, and the owners kept the ground intact without using terraces or fescues. The founders' nephews, Alan Judson and John Inslee Sullivan, inherited the farm of about 107 acres in 1915. In 1917, J.E. Sullivan and his wife, Ida Dora Pewitt Sullivan, became the sole property owners. They had 9 children, 7 of whom lived to adulthood. The farm housed a sorghum mill during this time. State Route 100 was built in 1929, and the Sullivans and other owners along the road helped implement the plans to develop that route with ground slides and mules. Later in the mid to late 1940s, the Sullivan family installed terraces in cooperation with the Agricultural Stabilization Conservation Service. The terraces can be seen from an aerial view of the farm. In the 1950s and 60s, the farm had a blacksmith shop and forged pieces and equipment. Some of those remain on the farm today. There are also 2 barns on the farm that were built before 1950. During the early 1960s, the farm changed hands among J.E. and Ida's children until 1962, when their son William Houston Sullivan, his wife Lennar Florence Deal Sullivan, and their children Martha and William Earl Sullivan became the farm's 6th owners until 2005. That year, Martha and William Earl divided the farm. And today, Linda Tucker Sullivan owns the farm, which produces cattle, timber, hay, fruit, and vegetables. I believe we have the Sullivan family here tonight as well. If y'all would stand and let us give you a round of applause and celebrate your certification as well. Excellent, thank you. And finally this evening, we have the opportunity to celebrate a special milestone for one of our Williamson County farms. This year, 2025, marks not just 100 years and not just 150 years, but 200 years of ownership of the Bluegrass Farm in College Grove by the Bond family. This is a very impressive accomplishment, and also the 2nd century farm that the Bond family owns here in Williamson County as well, in the College Grove area. A little bit about Bluegrass Farm. It was established by John B. and Elizabeth Bryan Bond in 1825 and has been a significant contributor to the cattle breeding industry for over 60 years. It lies in eastern Williamson County in the College Grove area, where John Bond operated a blacksmith shop in the community as early as 1797, so even before Williamson County was created. His 715 acres yielded tobacco, sheep, and other subsistence crops. John and Elizabeth were the parents of 10 children, and their son Cicero Columbus Bond inherited the farm in 1848. A magistrate representing the 12th district, Cicero was a profitable farmer of tobacco, corn, wheat, and livestock. The Civil War and Reconstruction dramatically changed his operations, and he was forced to move from the home place during Reconstruction down to a 1 long-room house. After years of hard work, he was able to recoup his resources and evolve the farm. That single log room became the nucleus of a new home on the property. Wed to Rachel Blythe, Cicero fathered 4 children, and in 1909, his son James William Bond obtained the farm. James W. and Leo G. Bond, the great-grandsons of the founders, received title to the family land holdings in 1953. 16 years later, Charles and Dan Bond acquired 420 acres of the original farm. The brothers went on to manage 870 acres and operate a grade A dairy. They also raised tobacco and beef cattle. In 1984, Charles and Dan received a certificate from the American Polled Hereford Association for 64 years of continual breeding of cattle on their farm. In 2014, the Tennessee State Legislature recognized the Bond family with a resolution stating, whereas the success of the state, the strength of its communities, and the overall vitality of our society depend in great measure on the dedication of people such as the members of the Bond family, who have demonstrated a deep respect for tradition and hard work and a love for the land. Now therefore be it resolved that we honor and congratulate Charles and Carol Bond, whose Bluegrass Farm and Bond Farm have been designated Tennessee Century Farms. And we commend Mr. and Ms. Bond and their family for their dedication to agriculture and wish them all the best in their future endeavors. Do we have the members of the Bond family here tonight? I don't know if I missed them early. Excellent. If y'all would stand, please. Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. And I am extra excited tonight to be able to present to you your 200-year farm poster or sign that was kindly brought to us from the Tennessee Department of Agriculture by Miss Lynn Williams, who is seated over here on the side. Thank you for bringing it. I am going to hold it up just so y'all can see real quick. So with that being said, I do want to say thank you to the Tennessee Department of Agriculture for their support of this Century Farms program, which they founded. And again, thank you to Lynn Williams, who's been a strong supporter of the program and has led it for a long time, has been our main liaison, and is such a valuable asset to the Department of Agriculture. I want to also give many thanks tonight to Terry Kimball for her support of this event and this program and all her work for the fair. She's allowed me to learn the ropes of this program this year, and bring this event together with everybody tonight. Also want to say thank you to Cheryl Burnside, who lined up the food for the program this evening. So the main attraction, if you guys see her, if you'll say thank you. Without her hard work, this dinner would not be possible. So thank you, Cheryl. And then let me also thank Commissioner Webb for chairing the fair board this year and juggling the many responsibilities he has in that role, as well as a thank you to Mayor Rogers Anderson and the past fair board chair, Diane Giddens, for their many years of service to this county. And let me say lastly, thank you to all the many volunteers that we're lucky to have tonight for this program and for the many fair services. The fair would not go forward without you guys, so thank you for your hard work and for helping me tonight. And I will make the pitch for next year. If you are having a good time and feel like you want to be more involved, put the Thursday of the fair on your calendar, and I'd be glad to have a few more volunteers next year. So with that being said, I'll dismiss for food here in just a moment so everybody can get a plate here before the fair doors open. I will say for our newly certified families, if y'all would please join me down here front for a picture so we can get y'all a photo taken with the signs. I'd like to have one for us if you're okay with that, and then one for your family as well that we can take before I lose track of you this evening. So once we dismiss, feel free to grab food. Self-serve down both sides of the aisle, please. And then once you're done eating tonight, feel free to take off and enjoy the rest of the fair. So thank you for being here. Again, my name is Bradley Boshears. It's been a pleasure. With that being said, I'll give thanks for the food, and then we'll dismiss here. Dear Lord, thank you for giving us the opportunity to gather together in fellowship tonight. Thank you for bringing these many families together, for allowing us to celebrate each other and celebrate these Century Farms. I ask that you will watch over us and continue to provide safety through the rest of the fair. In Jesus Christ we pray, amen.